And it is all down to this, the last game of the series. Hansa got it, too. Breaking Bard at 2. 3 games wins it, guys. House Party 5v5 Saturday League comes to a close tonight. I'm your host, Anson. Welcome to the broadcast if you're just now joining us. If you've stuck with us through the whole series, it's been a hell of a ride. Can't wait to see how it turns out. Alongside me is my good friend, Deck.
Hey, guys.
Deck, you holding it together, man? This is a stressful series.
Hey, man, I am all good here.
It's a good stress, though. Feeling the absolute finality of what's about to happen. You can play a 5-game series back and forth, all you want. And if you arrive at this point, it still just comes down to one single game. Now, yes, Hands of God, Breaking Bard have used these 4 games to figure each other out, and we're seeing the results of this. The Kalista ban, Rek'Sai, Vayne, Lulu still coming out on Breaking Bard's side, so they're going to allow Skye to pick up his Darius. Are they going to throw something at him that is more of a counter, though? I have to think that they don't have, that Gingerfied doesn't have the champion pool in order to counter the Darius top lane. Something like perhaps a Vladimir would come in handy, but again, if he's not really well versed on the champion, might want to fall back on something a little bit less of a counter.
Well, I mean, going strictly by the numbers, Ryze, who was picked earlier, is a counter to Darius. Unfortunately, Ryze gets banned now. The only other one that immediately comes to mind is one that I have never seen Ginger play, and that would be Yorick, and I honestly don't expect him to play Yorick.
Yorick's one of those weird champions. He hasn't been touched, buffed, or nerfed in quite a while.
He's very fluid in the meta. He tends to do really well depending upon which carries are good, and also depending upon what gets played top lane. Because if he gets played against something that he can bully, and something that if he dies, he can kill them back, then he does really well.
Right.
He's kind of a Nasus in that way.
Yorick is more of a trump card than a winning hand, so to speak. And I feel like he comes into play really well in certain compositions, especially if you've got a Vayne or some type of hyper carry in the AD carry role. But, Gingerfied
might have spoken too soon.
Well, we'll see if he actually ends up locking that one in, or if that's just for the benefit of the shoutcasters. Now,
I would love it. I've played Yorick in Season 3.
The Azir is still available for Luna's. It's probably a sure bet that he's going to be able to pick that one up.
Although we did have a Kog'Maw pick, so we're not sure yet. It could be AD carry Kog'Maw, but it could still be mid Kog'Maw.
I just feel like
if it is AD carry Kog'Maw, then they will pick Yorick, I think.
It's such a risky thing to do, to pick an AD carry Kog'Maw.
And there's the Gnar.
You know, Gnar did quite well for Gingerfied. I feel like he can make it work if his team's behind him.
I can dream that Yorick would see higher level play.
You can dream. It's just it's like Shaco and other weird champions. Competitive doesn't do weird, so.
You say that, but then Unicorns of Love exist.
True. Breaking Bard deciding on their final choice for the game.
We might see an assassin mid laner. It'd be good if they try and pick an Azir again.
It's coming down.
Going for the Ziggs.
Last seconds. The Ziggs going to be taken in for Ashhall. I'm very surprised. Skye going for his Maokai this time around instead of the Darius. And you have to wonder how that's going to come into play. And Maokai versus Gnar is such a skill matchup. There's no real big advantage on either side in it. And yeah, I feel like Maokai is a safe pick for Sky. It's a risky pick for him that can pay off, and it certainly did pay off last game. But I feel like this game, Breaking Bard want to take it a little bit safer.
And I mean, the Maokai pick is a good idea in this situation because Maokai is actually doesn't need a damage item early. He certainly benefits from building like a Rod of Ages or an Abyssal Scepter, but he could build like a Spirit Visage early or an Abyssal Scepter as a defensive item early. And that will help him against Gnar's % health damage, allowing him to build more into health. And a Spirit Visage against a champion who has no resources, you're going to get to proc your passive a lot, so you're going to get a lot of effectiveness out of your healing.
That Maokai passive is one thing that even seasoned players tend to discount. It's hidden power, and unless you're reading the text or unless you understand the text and are aware of how and when it's going to apply, it can be difficult. It can be tricky to account for that. Luna's taking command of the Kog'Maw and still looking like it could be an Ezreal mid. It could be a Kog'Maw mid. It's all up in the air. We're not going to know until the last 10 seconds of this fall away.
It's looking like it's going to be an Ezreal carry with a mid Kog'Maw. And that shouldn't really surprise us too much, I guess. Lunas did very well on Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw has been very powerful in these picks.
How do you go from not playing Ezreal all series to picking him up in Game 5? What does Wumple have up his sleeve?
I don't know, because what they seem to be going for is they wanted an AD carry who had good poke. That's what I'm assuming. Because they have the Kog'Maw for poke. They have Gnar for poke, so that Gnar can continue poking until he's mega. And once they go in, it's going to be a lot of kind of balancing the W buff from Ezreal and just trying to take control of it. And meanwhile, we still have the same heavy dive pick comp on the other side. So that's two things that need to kind of be defended by, Hellblizzle, Ginger, and Sally, and we'll see how it turns out. I'm very interested to see how they're going to handle getting Dove. If they get Dove too early, then if Gnar's not mega, Gnar's going to have a hard time.
I feel like
yes, they'll have the disengage from wave.
Pre-level 6, Breaking Bard definitely have the advantage. Post-level 6 is when Hands of God can start fighting their way back, but it's going to come down a lot to Hellbizzle. The front line is not that beefy for Hands of God. Hellbizzle is going to need to be Johnny on the spot when it comes to those bindings, and more to the point, he's going to need to hold his ultimate until the perfect moment, because that is the only thing that's going to stop this heavy dive from Breaking Bard at chunking the back line. Wumple and Luna will be complete food for Breaking Bard if Hellbizzle doesn't get those soul shackles off quite like he needs to. Well, folks, Caster's going to take a short break. It's been quite a long night, but we're not done yet. Breaking Bard versus Hands of God, the final game, right around the corner. Stick with us. And we are back. House Party 5v5's championship finals. Breaking Bard versus Hands of God. Breaking Bard on the blue side. Hands of God on the red. Both teams running into each other here in the river. I am your host, Anson. My fellow co-caster, Deck, is here with us.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Glad to have you here, Deck. And this series has proven to be an emotional roller coaster. Just when I thought Breaking Bard were down and out, they came back in that last game, rallied to victory, and put Hands of God on the back foot. They're coming into the last game of the series off a loss. They don't have that momentum Breaking Bard does. At the same time, they won 2 straight, something Breaking Bard hasn't done yet this series. They'll have to if they want to take the title.
And we have 2 kind of similar team comps to what they've been playing. I mean, there's a little bit more poke now on one side than there was previously, but they still have Lunas is playing AP Kog'Maw now. That's going to be a lot of damage coming out really early. In the mid game where we're going to see a lot of the power spikes anyway. They're gearing towards a mid game, so they have the Ezreal is going to obviously be able to Triforce. Kog'Maw is going to get his ult powerful in about mid game, start getting some items. And the Gnar is just going to be a tank monster in mid-game. So
Gnar's going to be Gnar.
Gnar's going to be Gnar, basically, yes. No actual, like, super aggressive moves in the jungle early. Not a huge surprise.
So I feel like Breaking Bard had an advantage here. Fly Knight did get his Thresh. Both sides have been jockeying back and forth for control of that champion. And, of course, this is going to end up being the only game that matters. So Fly Knight getting that champion is just one more thing Breaking Bard have going in their favor.
Seeing the early dragon control with that crab going over to Hands of God. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, they've actually, both teams, I want to say, have prioritized that early crab quite well in this series. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fragility of the bottom lane matchup. Because both sides are so evenly matched, they can't say for certain, you know what, we'll be okay. Jungler, go ahead and focus the other lanes because we've got this down. You can't say that about any lane in this series, much less the bottom lane. So I really think because of that, the Scuttle objective is going to be valued a lot higher.
Seeing a lot of decent poke coming out to Luna's. Gotta be really careful those bombs early. He's very flimsy playing Cog, and unfortunately, if he gets too low, he'll have to go back, and that's not a good thing early.
You definitely want to stay in lane and farm things up as a Kog'Maw. Avoid damage, but you have to step 2 if you want to get that CS. And what that means when you're facing a Ziggs is you're going to eat some bombs to the face now and again.
Seeing Salak come down early, Mashari going top.
A great jump from Ginger, absolutely negating all of the damage and crowd control from Mashari's gank. A great hook onto Wumple, forces the flash away, and that will be down bottom lane for quite some time. That was a 3v2, and Wumple had to flash away.
You know, despite the fact that Kuro and Fly Knight were the ones that got ganked,
they actually did the most.
Just a little damage. Yeah, they only lost Fly Knight's flash and Kuro's heal, which that does kind of suck. But they exchanged it for Hellbizzle's exhaust, which this early in the game, the exhaust is going to do a hell of a lot more than the heal will.
Right. The exhaust is going to be huge. Mashari coming in, misses once again with his Q. The death sentence doesn't land on the Wumple, but he is going to be able to get the distance there. Kuro going to pick it up first. Blood off the back of the Ignite. Mashari getting bound here, not going to be able to lock down any other targets for kills, but Breaking Bard off to a great start in this bottom lane. I gotta tell you, Deck, it is not surprising to me to see the junglers focusing this heavy on the bottom lane. I feel like they've got it figured out, that the bottom lane is where the early game is at. And just because of how closely these teams are matched, one kill, one first blood in favor of one side can really tip the scales.
Yeah, but we got to be careful because there isn't enough being done in mid and top. If they're focusing too hard on bot lane, then we can see something happen similarly that happened last game, where we'll see a little bit of a swing the other way as the gold gets ahead, sure, but the other sides will not be doing as badly, so they can make up for it.
It all depends on the individual lane matchups as well. I feel like one thing that's been missing this entire series is the counter jungling. We have not seen either jungler successfully go into the other jungler. Asphalt getting targeted, a satchel charge going to keep him plenty healthy. That was an impressive escape from a gank that looked pretty nasty. Whereas Lunas has his bio-arcane artillery, going to be able to put up much more of a fight against Asphalt, and we're starting to see that in this middle lane. Asphalt dropping in health while Luna's only getting bigger. Great play backward, gets Wumple, has to use the arcane shift to get out of range. Skye really coming out strong in this top lane. He's able to put a lot of damage down onto Gingerfied, and he knows the amount of aggression that's going on bottom lane. That is his cue to turn on the bully factor and get in there and do some work. He's got the lane pushed up, and he doesn't care because he's constantly seeing Sala down bottom lane. It's exactly what you were talking about, Deck. When you focus that much attention on a single lane, especially if you're not focusing successfully, your other areas are going to suffer.
Yeah, like, we've seen gank from Mashari go mid, and it didn't get anything. We saw a gank from Sally go mid, and it didn't get anything. So...
Great death sentence, and a flay backward. That flay came up huge. Kuro turns on the hunt, but Fly Knight not so convinced that a tower dive was in the cards. A great binding from Hellbizzle, going to put some damage down on the fly, but he's still in possession of about 400 hit points. They're going to continue to remain a force to be reckoned with in this bottom lane. The pings are going out mid lane now.
About to probably see a little bit more dancing mid lane, waiting on the potential for a dragon. Fly Knights is really low, though. He's got to be really careful.
The dragon...
Because once Wumple hits 6...
Dragon remaining off the table for both sides. Sort of the same story we saw earlier in Game 4. Didn't really have a lot of dragon contention until much later in the game. Ginger about to hit Megaform, but Skye turns on the ultimate, not afraid. He's going to give Ginger a little bit of space now that he goes back into Mega, but definitely not going to leave lane. Not going to get pushed around. He's got himself a pretty solid position up top.
He's a little bit harassed coming down on Fly Knight, but nothing he's not used to at this point. He's, he ate a little bit of damage from Wumple. Oh, TP coming in.
Great. Skye going in onto Hellbizzle with the lockdown. The Q follow-up from Fly Knight with the death sentence secures the kill for Breaking Bard. They're at 2-0 at this point. Gingerfied trying to turn that around. Desperation move, not going to yield any results. Mega Inferno Bomb from Asphalt. He has joined the fight here as well. One more gets picked up, and Hands of God look to be sliding behind. Almost 2,000 gold now in favor of Breaking Bard. The flash flay from Fly Knight plus the auto attack from Ash ends up grabbing another kill, and it just looks like it's falling apart. Hands of God are not playing like the team we have seen in the past 4 games. Fly Knight going in hard onto Lunas, getting a lot of auto attack damage down. Kurosakai is out of mana though. He's got to be careful that he doesn't chase too far. Luna's going to be allowed to escape, and Breaking Bard still in command of a solid map position and gold lead.
Unfortunately, they tried to go for the dragon, and I don't really know if that was the correct play. Oh, Fly Knight's cutting it close.
That shaved a few hairs off his chin.
Thank you, base dragon, for eating the damage reduction from the ult, or he would have died. But anyway, I think they should have gone for the tower, because at this point, you know, Kog'Maw has a decent amount of damage, but they're all relatively low from the extended fight that they had bot lane, so which Kog'Maw wasn't a part of. So Kog'Maw's full healthy, he's got a bunch of mana. So he could just sit on the sidelines and just keep shooting you, and you don't have enough vision in their jungle to fight it.
Look at the damage coming out from Skye as he just jumps onto Ginger. He's not even caring about Mega. He just goes in there, deals him some damage, and just, I'll walk away. When you're about half done with Mega, I'll jump back in again. Kuro taking a lot of damage, grabs the Thresh Express out. He's going to be just fine. Gingerfied using that Mega to farm underneath his turret, but it's gone now. What does he have left?
Well, he has a recall.
He has it, and that's about it. That is about the only option available to him at this point. If he sticks around, okay, he's got the potion. He's a resourceless champion, so continue trying to fend off maybe for another wave or two. But at this point, it's just not looking good for him up top. 84 to 73 farm. He's done fairly well for himself considering how far down he's been.
Yeah, and like, there's no one person on their team who is leagues ahead of anybody else. I mean, Kuro does have a decent gold lead at the moment.
Mashari going in with the Vi ultimate, forces the flash from Sala over the wall. Resonating Strike, not going to find anything there, but Asphalt able to get a deep ward down for Breaking Bard. If they decide to move onto this dragon, they will have advanced knowledge of Hands of God coming in.
This is really risky. Mashari is really low. They're going to decide to not fight, though.
Dragon handily going over to Breaking Bard. They are playing at the top of their game right now, and endurance is something to be accounted for. How many teams can say they've played 5 straight this season in practice or in actuality, in actual league games? Not very many. Going 5 games is quite an endurance test. It takes a lot out of you. Mistakes start to get made. People start to get tired. Having the ability to pull through in that final 5th hour is crucial to a team that wants to win in the finals.
I mean, they did well in their other 4 games, but at that point, the other 4 games don't matter. Nothing that happened in those matters. You could have been the MVP of every game, and regardless of whether your team lost or won, you could have been the best player, but if you lose the last game in the best of 5, it's over. You've lost.
It did look like Kuro was disconnected for a minute there, so his team going to allow him a little bit of time to get back into the game. Of course, that lets us sit here and analyze the state of things. Oh, not for very long. Kuro not wasting any time getting back into this, wants to wrap things up. I know both sides are eager to taste victory tonight, especially on the Hands of God side. Wumple came very close Season 1 to winning the championship, and unfortunately got that taken from him at the last minute. Second time around, chance at redemption. Wants to try to grab it, but he's going to have to knock down Breaking Bard. At this point, they are up by quite a substantial amount. 2,000 gold at 14.5 minutes in is a huge number.
Now, Ziggs actually finished the Grail, and that's going to help him out a lot. Simply because, you know, a lot of magic resist, a lot of mana regen. But Luna's hasn't finished an item yet. He's got parts of items.
Ginger going in on to Skye here. Has the Mega Form, and Skye has yet to go back yet. Important note, Ginger did finish off his Black Cleaver. So he's going to be hitting fairly hard. Of course, taking a look at Skye, he's got not that much money to spend, but will come back to lane with a little bit extra. Turret going
Ashfall,
down,
easy kill on a tower mid lane.
Every objective counts. Kurosakai turning on the afterburners, locking down Luna with Mashari's help. That. So long, Lunas. You are gone. Breaking Bard.
Nice try, Lunas.
Another kill. They're 5-0 at this point. And you can't put it down to nerves, because there certainly has been nerves all series long. You can't put it down to performance, because we have seen Hands of God's technical ability, even their team fighting capability, which Breaking Bard was renowned for going in this series. Hands of God are giving them a run for their money.
I almost think that it comes down a little bit to the team comp, and I know that there was a little bit of joking about this in chat during the break before the game actually started, but on Hands of God's side, they have a very mid-game heavy team. They have the Ezreal, who really, really wants to get his Triforce and wants to get a Manamune as soon as possible. You have the Kog'Maw, who can do decent damage, but he really scales harder whenever he gets the Ludens because of his poke damage. But on the other side, we had a lot of early game fighting. We had Sivir does have a good power spike when she gets an IE, but we had Mashari, who can do a lot of damage, who is a little bit more around than Lee Sin was. Skye, who was just destroying Gnar before Gnar actually finished an item. And then Ziggs, who is just going to continue doing well and continue to wave clear. He didn't need to hit 6 to wave clear. He already has wave clear. So it could just be down to the team comps that got picked, so we'll see a little bit further into the game if this is still the case.
Yeah, I don't think we were the only ones that felt like Hands of God dropped the ball in Champion Select. I'm not sure where they were going with the Ezreal, plus the Kog'Maw. It's one or the other. Okay, you can take a look at that and go, well, they're trying to build a composition around that sort of style. But really, they've just ended up giving up a lot here. I don't feel like these picks have worked out for them very well. And I gotta wonder if the mid-game power spike is right around the corner for them, if they're gonna start to really get off the ground with these champions and put up a big fight. Fly Knight with a great hook launches himself into the enemy team. The Mega Inferno Bomb hitting several members of Hands of God, sending them running, and Mashari going in with the ultimate. Ashfall chucking those bombs from the back line. That's a triple kill going over to Breaking Bard, courtesy of Ashfall with the ace. That fight almost couldn't have got any cleaner. Mashari and Fly Knight did exactly what they needed to do to lock down the rest of Hands of God. Ended up trading their lives over for it, but you know what? When you're taking out a tower after an ace, no matter what you did, you can call worth.
You know, and if you looked at the way that fight started, it was definitely a huge risk. Fly Knight's gambled that his team would be able to kill Lunas before he died. Because if Lunas had managed to survive, he had a Luden's Echo. If he'd managed to get a couple of spells off, he would have killed him. But he didn't. He got CC'd the whole time. He got flayed across the entirety of the Ziggs bombs, and then he got hit by the edge of the Ziggs ult. Then, the rest of his team can get in position quick enough that they can actually capitalize on that. They split the team into 2 groups, one of them trying to defend Ezreal, the other one trying to run away, and cleaned up really fast.
And that's the thing that's going to continue happening here if Hands of God don't change their playstyle. And maybe even not then. Gingerfied going in with the Gnar ultimate, several targets. Not really able to do much at all. Actually did not end up using the ultimate there. Throws the boulder toss at Fly Knight. Gonna make his way out. Exit stage left. Fly Knight trying to position with the hook here to grab another pick for his team. Kurosakai finds Sala in the jungle. Those boomerangs going in hard. Sky is here with the assist and grabs the kill. Fly Knight might be in a little bit of trouble here. Nope, ended up eating the binding, but no follow-up from Hands of God. They're still a little gun-shy. On the hunt, turned on. Kurosakai's chasing Wumple down with the Twisted Advance. Going to be able to pick that one up as they position themselves for Dragon number 2 of the game. 10 kills ahead. Mishari just going in. He said, I am not done yet. Kurosakai flashing after, forces 2 flashes away. That is big for Hands of God. The Mega Inferno Bomb not quite going to pick the kill.
And here we're seeing there's no respect for the Luden's Echo. Mashari dove straight onto Luna's thinking, you know, I've got this. I'll be able to kill him. Hellbizzle won't be able to stop me from getting to him because I've got my ult. The ult won't slow me down enough, so everything will be fine. And Luden's Echo proc.
Sala trying to get in there for the steal. Wasn't able to pull it off. I'm not sure if Smite was on cooldown. He certainly wasn't going up against anybody else's Smite. So the Dragon easily going over to Breaking Bard.
Yeah, I don't know. We still have to wait because Wumple still hasn't finished a Triforce. So once he gets the Triforce, that's whenever Ezreal comes online. I kind of question this really early Mana Moon. He was already kind of behind, and that's not an item that you build when you're behind because it takes a while to build up.
And
so
I'm not sure that he knows that because he is not an Ezreal player. You're game 5 of the finals.
That's true.
Why are you playing a champion that you don't play? I could be wrong. He could play it away from my prying eyes. But to my knowledge, never seen him play that champion. Certainly can say with confidence he has a lot more experience on a lot of other AD carries. And to be playing Ezreal, you know, I'm not sure how that came about. If it was just an overall composition thing, the other 4 members of his team wanted him, did a little bit of arm twisting to try to make him play on that. Maybe he's been practicing Ezreal all the time on an alternate account just to keep it away from the scouting eyes of Breaking Bard. There's a lot of different potential scenarios here. I don't want to believe that he just picked a champion that he thought, maybe this will work. It's game 5. What the hey? But from the way Hands of God are playing, it's certainly looking like it.
And I mean, we have a 2,000 gold lead on Kuro. We have a 1,000 gold lead on Mishari over Lee Sin. And then just in the mid lane, we have another, 1,400? And that's not even counting the top lane lead, which not as big, but it is still sizable, especially in a situation where you have a tank. This isn't a Darius again. This isn't something that's just going to kind of fall over after a while. This is something that's just going to be able to stand there and continue doing tons of damage.
Sky and Ginger duking it out in the top lane once again. Well, this battle is just raging on between the two of them. No signs of
Sky just
slowing
jumped
down.
right onto a Mega Gnar. A Mega Gnar who has MR. He just doesn't care.
And interesting to point out that Ginger actually leads in CS at the moment, and he's only a kill behind. The follow-up from Fly Knight, the box. Ziggs ultimate Mega Inferno hitting 3 members of Hands of God. That's another one going down. Sky is setting his sights on Sala, not able to quite finish the job. But Hands of God are in pieces at this point. Wumple has got to flash out Gingerfied looking at his Mega Gnar form. You poor man, Gnar into the wall, but a fantastic follow-up from Fly Knight. Hooks him away from any follow-up damage during the stun. Gets the kill. That was spectacular support play coming out from Fly Knight. Any team
Wumple, buddy.
looking to form
Wumple.
next season has to be setting their sights on Fly Knight as a support to recruit. Has to be.
That was such a perfect Gnar ult for an Ezreal ult, and we did not see it. He had it available. He was in a position where he could throw it and hit all of them, and he didn't throw it. Instead, opted to go in close enough to throw his Q, which is close enough for Skye to be able to just walk up and Twisted Advance to him, and that is an instant death for Wumple.
And Wumple has got to be careful with his positioning. He ended up burning his flash in order to get away from Skye. That's not going to be available for a little while. He's not going to be able to play fast and loose. His team is behind. And this is, unfortunately for Hands of God, the first time this series that they're having to play from this far behind. They haven't been down 8,000 gold at 25 minutes this entire series. And it's a true test of their ability to bounce back from this condition. Conversely, Breaking Bard, it's their game to lose. They have the momentum. If they keep it going in their favor the way they have been, even if they make a mistake or two here and there, they have built up such a lead, not only in gold, but on map pressure, that they can afford to make a mistake, maybe even two, in a team fight, and still come back and win this game.
I mean, at this point, I almost think that Breaking Bard should just give up the next dragon, say, okay, we'll go for dragon, we'll go for top tower. What are you going to do? Send the Gnar to stop us? We can kill the Gnar really fast.
It's certainly a viable strategy. The On the Hunt gets turned on. Kurosakai's going in with the rest of his team. The Vi ultimate locks down Hellbizzle, and the Mega Inferno Bomb's going to finish off the job. A great three-man play. Wumple, Ginger, knocked back into the team. Ginger falls down next. Lunas is on the run. The Twisted Advance catches him out on the back of the flash, and the hook is going to lock him in place. The quadra kill. Can he get the pentakill? Asphalt scumbag report. But hey, Breaking Bard have all but won this series. What a team fight.
And there's the surrender vote.
Amazing game coming out from